Ladies and gentlemen, today we are back in Wildgate, and I thought now would be the perfect time to go through all of the different weapons and devices that you can acquire whilst exploring the Reach. They're all in this like little practice range area that anyone can load into, so they're conveniently all lined up for us to take a look at. We'll kick things off with the bomb trap, and this is actually the only hardpoint you'll want to install on an enemy ship. There are two different variants, we'll get into the second one in just a minute, but for now, let's go and find another ship. And here we are. The bomb trap kind of functions how you'd expect it to. Once you install it on a ship, it'll have a brief wind-up time where it can be disarmed, but if it's not disarmed, this common version will deal 20 damage to the ship. It'll also destroy that hardpoint location and cause some fire. We're just going to put the fires out and repair it a bit because we don't quite want this ship to die yet. After all, we've got a lot of stuff to test on it. The next two hardpoints are quite special because they're the SAL inventions. SAL is a prospector that can recycle unwanted items into the ship's processor and get items such as ammo, clamp jets, and sometimes devices back. One of these is the SAL bomb trap, and it functions exactly the same as the normal bomb trap, except it does 10 extra damage totaling 30. But the other device is the SAL invention, which gives your ship ammo regen over time and 20% extra health to all ship shields. So now I've installed it, you can see if we go over to the helm that the ammo is slowly increasing. This is incredibly useful as ammo is critical in Wildgate in PvP situations. You can never have too much of it. You can't see the buff to the ship's shields, but I assure you it is there, so those shields will be slightly harder to break through than normal, giving you a defensive bonus. The next hardpoint is the ammo regen. This functions exactly the same as the SAL invention, except you don't get the shield buff. So this is an uncommon hardpoint you can find around the Reach, so it's not SAL exclusive, and again, it will give you ammo regen. So you can see there, the regen rate is increased because we have both the SAL invention and the ammo regen hardpoint, so they do both stack. Let's see what we have up next over here. We have the booster. So the booster is a hardpoint that will allow the afterburner to fire 25% more often. This is controlled from the helm and is used to give your ship a boost of speed when you need it in exchange for using fuel up, and is extremely useful to get out of sticky situations. So this allows you to fire it just that little bit more often. The security device is perhaps one of the most useful hardpoints in the game. This is a hardpoint that will set off an alarm when an enemy comes on board your ship and will also automatically close all of the doors. This means that when you're being boarded, you will absolutely know about it, and it means that you don't get caught off guard on the helm or on a cannon or a probe station, so you can deal with the intruder. It also means that if multiple people are coming to board, they can't all come on at exactly the same time. It will take them just that little bit longer to get through to your ship. The shield device increases the health by 10% of all your ship's shields, so similar to the SAL invention. But next up, we have the two barriers, the fire barrier and the storm barrier. The fire barrier allows you to fly into lava asteroids and reduces all fires on your ship by 50%, and the storm barrier allows you to fly into cosmic storms. These are two environmental hazards in the Reach, so you definitely want to equip them to maximise the places you can explore, as they often have POIs in them. They're also useful if you're trying to outrun an enemy ship, as you can just go near one of these hazards and the ship won't be able to follow unless they have a barrier as well. Next up is the probe sensor, and this is very important if you're trying to find that artifact. The probe sensor increases the scan range of probes by 200 meters. By default, the probe has a 200 meter max range, so it doubles its effective distance to 400 meters, meaning you can scan things a lot further away. It also comes in handy if your probe is low on health or power. It just allows you to squeeze that little bit more out of it. Here we are as we approach the Wildgate. You can see that we can scan it at below 400 meters. Next up are two potentially game-changing hardpoints, the two ship's cores. Ship's cores are dropped when an enemy ship is killed, and they'll increase your ship's max health by 10. However, there's also the golden mega core, which can be found in rare POIs such as the monolith, that will increase your ship's max health by 30 and also heal it over time. So you can see there it's been increased to 110 from 80, and it's gradually regenning over time. This hardpoint is incredibly strong and can win you or lose you battles depending on who has it. Next up we have the Smuggler's Turn, and this quite simply gives you a passive turn speed bonus. You can also activate it, which has a cooldown to turn even faster for 30 seconds. Moving back to some more offensive hardpoints, the Mine Layer is a device that when activated will launch 3 mines out into the Reach. The mines will take time to arm, but when they do, they'll do devastating damage to any ship that hits them, which is the catch. It can also hurt your ship as well as enemies. Next up, we have the laser ram. And this is a devastating addition to your ship. It's a short-range, high-damage laser that's always on and will absolutely melt through enemies. You can see when we install it, a giant ram appears on the front. Let me tell you, if you end up ramming a ship with this, it will absolutely obliterate them. It'll stick out from whatever hardpoint you've put it on, so you can put it on the front, the back, or the side of your ship, and you can also have multiple, so you can literally have 3 laser rams on the front of the ship, making you an unstoppable force if someone comes at you from the front. I cannot stress enough how dangerous these are to any ships that come into contact with them. They single-handedly can win fights. The shock field is a very useful border repellent hardpoint. It essentially works by being a device that you activate, and it will generate a shock field around your ship for 10 seconds. This will insta-kill any enemies who are on the exterior of your ship trying to board. So if you see a load of people coming over, activate the shock field and they won't be able to touch you or get on board. That is all the hard points done, so now we can move on to the handheld items. These have a lot of utility and can completely change the way you play. They are really game changing. The Star Lance has 2 variations, the normal and the ancient, with the only difference being the number of shots. It's a long-range, high-powered rifle that can strike 2 targets in a line, however it only has a single use. The thing that makes it powerful though, is it can breach ship shields and do damage to the ship itself, so it is a hugely useful offensive weapon that you can use against both players and ships. Next up is the turbine, and this is a really cool device. It can be used to fly across the reach extremely quickly. The longer you go in one direction, the more it powers up, so it's a bit weird with directions because if you change it will slow yourself down again, but I guess that's good if you want to switch things up. But as you can see here, as I go further in one direction, I'll start to fly faster. You can travel some amazing distances with this and literally go from one corner of the reach to the other and go on sneaky missions to take out ships, hit their reactors and to cause chaos. They're really common as well, so you can fly around all you want. Although be careful of oxygen, because if you're not Venture, that will be a consideration you need to make sure you don't run out. Now let's look at the tractor beam. This is another really cool item and can be used to pull ships, devices and artifacts with a maximum range of 500 meters. As you can see here, you can literally pull ships, and it's not by any small amount. As I just mentioned, it can also pull items, and it doesn't do it slowly either. Its maximum range is 500 meters, and it is only singular use like the Star Lance, so that's its only downside. But when used right, this is an incredibly powerful tool. Now we have the clamp jet, and the clamp jet is an interesting one. It's common, and you can attach it to a ship, shoot it, and then it'll fire a jet pushing the ship in that direction. You can see that working here, it's trying to push my ship down, and when you're in the middle of the reach, this can seriously throw you off course. If you want to remove it, you just repair it with your multi-tool, but this is the thing, it can be used very offensively to try and throw you off course. Theoretically, it could be used to help you, but in my experience, it's mainly used offensively. So that's the end of the handheld items, now we move on to the cannons. And just to establish a baseline, this is the default cannon. 3 shots doing 1 damage each, with a best range of 300 meters. Kicking things off with the quad cannon, it pretty much does what it says on the tin. It's an upgrade to the base weapon and increases the amount of shots fired per round from 3 to 4, meaning the damage is also increased from 3 to 4. You can see me firing it here, how it's in a round of 4, and will do a total of 4 damage, so 1 per each bullet. It has a somewhat quick reload time, so it acts as a semi-rapid fire cannon that you can easily find in the reach, with it being uncommon. Next up, we have the scatter cannon, which is also uncommon. It's a short-range blast weapon with a volley damage of 4.8, and in my experience, it's really good at taking down shields. Because of its spread, it's great if you're trying to create a very large opening. Its obvious downside is that it's not concentrated, so if there's only a really small opening in an enemy ship's shields, you can't do much with it. The sniper cannon is probably the complete opposite of the scatter cannon. It's long range, accurate, and shots to hard points do 2 times damage to the ship. It does 10 volley damage with 5 shots in a volley, meaning it does 2 damage per shot fired. It's also semi-automatic, so it doesn't fire all 5 bullets at once. It is very good for ships that are trying to run away though, or just long-range combat in general, because it is very accurate. Next up, we have the plasma beam, and this is also in many ways the opposite of the sniper cannon. It's a short-range beam of doom as the game puts it, with a maximum range of 100 meters. It doesn't use any ammo and does 16 damage per volley. It's effectively an ultra high powered laser that'll melt anything in its path, but very short range. Now we have the bomb cannon, and this works in a slightly unusual way. It's a cooperative combo gun, to quote the game, and to test it out we'll need to poke a hole in this ship's shields with a sniper cannon. So, how does it work? You fire a projectile out of the cannon and it does pretty minimal damage. However, it's a sticky explosive, and thus will stick to a ship that you fire it at. You then need to hit the explosive with another gun, where it will then explode for high damage. So you can see here, if we hit it with a sniper cannon, the bomb will do 8 damage to the ship that it's stuck to. Now we have the thermic cannon, and this can be best described as your comfort weapon. It's got a large magazine and it's rapid fire, doing a total volley damage of 10. So the individual shots won't do too much, but if you hit all of your shots, then it'll start doing some major damage. It's as close to a machine gun as you're going to get, and it's fully automatic, so you don't need to worry about anything you do with the sniper cannon. The thermic is always a safe bet. If you see it in the reach, you definitely want to pick it up. It also just feels great to use when you're firing loads of bullets at another ship. The penultimate weapon we have is the macro cannon, and this is another slightly unorthodox weapon, but cool nonetheless. It's effectively a long-range cannon that does low damage but pushes ships away, so it kind of functions as a knockback cannon. The shot damage is 4 to 8 depending on the range. It works best at 500 meters away, but as you can see here, when we fire it, it pushes this ship away. So again, it's great in those emergency situations where you're trying to run away, get a ship off you, or stop a ship trying to run away themselves. And finally, any of you who've seen my previous Wildgate videos will know what's coming, but we have the golden entropy cannon. As the description says, this is a very powerful weapon and also very rare. And some of you, if you've seen my previous videos, will know how this functions, but if you haven't, effectively it's a high damage, any range weapon, and the projectiles track your cursor. So you can fire in one direction, move your cursor, and they'll hone in on it. So you can miss a ship completely, and they'll track it. It is seriously overpowered. I've won many a fight with it. In fact, I won a game with it. It is just ridiculous. It is the most powerful weapon in the entirety of Wildgate and will melt any ship that comes face to face with it. But there we have it. That is every hardpoint weapon and device in Wildgate. There are some seriously cool additions that you can get for your ship, some amazingly overpowered weapons, and some great utility items, all of which can change the course of a game dramatically. A reminder that sign-ups are live now to the Wildgate Community Preview playtest, running from the 10th to the 14th of April on all major platforms, Xbox, PlayStation and PC. Links will be in the description and pinned comment below. If you like the look of the game, do go check it out, you'll have an absolute blast with it. For now though, that does just about bring us to the end of the video. Let me know what you think of all this down in the comments below. What weapon, device or hardpoint do you like the look of the most, and what do you think just looks absolutely broken? Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, then please do consider leaving a like. It really does help out the channel an absolute ton, and subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest Wildgate news as and when it comes out. And while you're at it, why not hit the bell as well so you never miss a single upload. But anyways, apart from all that, thanks for watching and I'll see you later.